What's up, guys? Swings for Change here, and today we're going to talk about MGTOW housing and how to ensure your safety. So this goes out to all the members of the MGTOW movement, all my non-aggressive guests, and any other listeners out there who think that they know some shit but are looking to learn something else. So ultimately it is up to the MGTOW to ensure his safety. The home is the man's final resting place, where he unwinds and decompresses. It should be his objective, as it is my own, to ensure the sanctity and integrity of his living space. It is his sanctuary and should be treated as such, and anything that would compromise that is to be ejected without exception. The standards for home construction in the world today, even when done by an incredible construction company, do not guarantee the safety of its occupants whatsoever. Garage doors are made usually from stamped aluminum sheet metal with a core of fiberglass insulation. That will stop nothing. The windows are next to useless when it comes to impact and theft protection. Most locks, while they're deadbolts, are anchored in weak material, typically wood, which can be easily drilled out and cut. Not only that, but all somebody has to do is get access into your home. Is get in one time and grab your keys without you knowing and leave. And they can make copies of your keys for little to no cost whatsoever. Most motion-sensitive lights are usually pretty pathetic, and as someone who builds high-output LED lights as a hobby, I can say that this is unacceptable with the low and still declining prices for these types of lighting systems in the marketplace today. Below in the description, I've put several links to a few companies, and all the content on those websites belongs to their respective owners. And they offer services pertaining to home security. If you check them out, you'll find that there are varying levels of protection in terms of impact management for various applications, including door materials, wall materials, and window materials. I also included, and I cannot express how much I would like to have one of these reinforced fingerprint-only door handles. The great thing about these is that the candidacy for entry into the home can be configured within the door handle's interface itself. The model that I put in the description can hold up to 5,000 different fingerprints, and you can manage all of them. You can decide who comes in and who can't, all with the touch of a button. Now, basically, if you realize that a woman or other occupant should no longer be allowed into your home, as I said before, all you'd have to do is remove them from the authorization list. And this is something, the next thing I want to talk about is something that a lot of people look over. And strangely enough, when women see this, they go batshit insane. They will not want to leave your house at all because they see it as a free meal ticket. Basically, when it comes to powering the home, I would recommend something like a backup power supply system consisting of, this is only what I would do, both a fuel-operated generator. Personally, I'd go for a turbine-equipped unit for noise reduction, as well as augmenting that with a backup bank of batteries. Preferably, I would go with lithium-ion, just because they're reliable for when the fuel runs out. One thing to keep in mind with this is that natural gas lines still work in the event of a power outage. So if the turbine is set up to run on natural gas, you would theoretically have a limitless supply of energy in the event of an outage. However, I would not recommend doing this because the cost per usable unit of extracted electricity from natural gas is higher when compared to electricity from the grid and the price of it. As I said before, generators, man. When a woman sees a generator in the house, you know what she's thinking? I'm good here if there's a power outage. I'm going to come here if there's a power outage. I'm going to use his resources, his food, his living space to sleep and live during that power outage. Guys, do not let them see the inside of your home. Period. When it comes to valuable and sensitive information, a safe that has been welded or riveted to the house frame, preferably steel, if you can get it, as a necessity. I can't stress this enough. I mean, there are things that you just don't want in the hands of a woman, man. Credit cards, passports, medical information, you name it. Just anything that could screw you over. Social security cards. Weapons, especially weapons. We all know what women can be like when they get their hands on a fucking weapon. Especially when they're angry. All their sense goes right out the window. Not only that, but as a safety precaution, it's also a good idea to keep anything dangerous inside the safe when you have visitors. That way it can't be used against you if it's not on you. Now, I have personally been falsely accused of sexual assault, and I have to say one simple fucking thing about that. Pardon my French, but had there been cameras in that room, I would have taken that bitch to fucking court. And I would have sued her for slander, because it was consented. Now, had I had a camera system in the house that I was in, videotaping this act, and I'm going to get to another point after this, I wouldn't have to worry about any of that, because it would have been on video. And I'm going to talk about data storage and security in my next video, which is going to be called the Digital MGTOW. So keep your eye out for that. But what I was going to say before was that you can't be going and having sex with women in a place that isn't under surveillance that you can have access to. Because all she has to do is have sex with you, cry rape, you're fucked. That's what happened to me. Luckily, she didn't press charges because there was no evidence. Now, that's just the one thing. I mean, sex can be a weapon, but it can also be fun. So it's a double-edged sword. Now, I can't deny that many MGTOWs are just getting on their feet and are most likely living in an apartment with a roommate. If your roommate is a MGTOW, well, this becomes a much easier process, and you can simply use what I have previously said at face value. However, if your roommate is blue pill, uneducated in the arts of MGTOW, there is a very simple solution. Do not leave anything you hold dear outside of your room, and keep your room locked with the maximum amount of security allowed by your landlord. Deadbolt if you can get it. In gambling, you do not bet more than you are willing to lose. And this case is no different. There's an undeniable possibility that your roommate will be bringing women over into the apartment that you share, and you should be using caution, because should there be a fight between them, she very well might not know what is yours and what is his. However, there is absolutely no reason to keep MGTOW from him. A horse cannot drink if no one will show it to the stream. And while we can't force others to take the red pill, the knowledge that it holds will scream at them to be put to use. Doing this will only help your living situation. I want to make clear something that is built into the nature of the female psyche. It is pre-programmed into a woman's mind to locate a place to build her nest. In much the same way it occurs in the animal kingdom, once a female fish, rodent, bear, and so on discovers that the male possesses a home in which she feels safe, and this goes back to what I was talking about with the power outage, and feels she can safely raise offspring, and I can't put enough emphasis on that. It is in her programming to attempt to establish a means of permanent initiation into the household, and that can be through any way. As Sandman discussed, I might not have said that clearly, Sandman, our fellow MGTOW brother who operates on a separate YouTube channel. I'm going to include a link to the video I'm going to be quoting or talking about in a minute. He mentions his video titled Living with Parents, that women are like water. At least this is my interpretation of what he said. That women are like water, and they will take the path of least resistance to satisfy short-term desires and needs, but not think in the long term. If they see a means of living that is easier than working for themselves, they will take it. And they will do whatever they have to get it. And there are various unethical methods that they often employ to gain access to a man's resources through various forms of manipulation, be it shaming, legal manipulation, legal extortion, sperm jacking, whatever you want to call it. There are numerous ways that they do it. Personally, when I have my own home, I will not be bringing women anywhere near it, nor will I be going home with them to their own homes. And I talked about that before. With this example, it's obvious that the most important security measure you can have is yourself. You are the one that dictates who gets in and out of your house. That little door handle is a nice feature, but guess what? If the chick's not with you, she's not getting in. It's your job to man your safety by maintaining your anonymity as a homeowner. Do not brag about your home to anyone, or any details to anyone, or its whereabouts. Only allow those that you trust with your life into your home. With your life, men, guys, MGTOWs. If you don't trust them with your life, do not put them in your house, ever. Because that's your final spot. That's where you're going to stop. That's where you sleep. That's where you're spending 45% of the day unconscious. That's a big trust thing. And if you don't trust them with your life, because that's what's going to be happening, do not bring them into your home. Be safe, guys. Drop your dead weight and soar.